So the father can himself go and directly look and see and approach a boy. Huh? The father can. Maybe the girl says, Dad, I'm interested in this guy. So the dad goes. Or the dad looks. And the evidence for this is again the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, in which Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu wanted to marry off his daughter Hafsa radiyallahu anha. And when he wanted to marry her off, he approached Uthman and he approached Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhum. And in the end, the Prophet ﷺ was the one who married her. But the point was, Umar ibn al-Khattab was himself radiyallahu anhu looking for his daughter. He was approaching men, being the wali for his daughter. And this is a lesson for the parents. That, they should be actively involved in looking for spouses for their daughters. Because if they're not, what's going to happen is that the daughter's going to look herself. And many a time parents complain, look at the guy my daughter brought home. If only the parent was from the beginning involved, then he, meaning the wali, the father, could have guided and advised his daughter. You see, when a daughter thinks that, my dad he's not gonna let me marry anyone anyway, or he's gonna pick some other guy for me, if he comes and tries to give her advice after she's already found someone, she's not gonna take it seriously. But if she knows from the beginning that, my dad he wants me to get married, he's supportive of the idea, and when he comes and she knows he's supportive and he's trying to bring people home and he's talking to her and what do you think, and he's trying to go and approach people for her, then when he says, my daughter, this guy, I don't think he's good for you, she's going to be more likely to listen, because she's going to say, my dad's been involved. He's actually supportive of the idea. He wants me to get married. So when he's telling me this guy's not good, it's not because he has some ulterior motive and he wants to choose some raggedy guy for me, or he just doesn't want me to get married right now for whatever reason. He wants me to get married. He's telling me it must be a valid reason. So parents, wallahi, look. Be actively involved. Especially in the day and age in which we live in. Like, girls, not just kuffar, I'm talking about Muslim girls, are becoming sexually active at the age of 14, 15, 16. Sadly speaking, our girls are ready before, their time. But they're ready. They've been exposed to these things. Their desires are there. When I say ready, I mean, their desires are pumping. And to protect them from falling into sin, we have to do this. Recently I received an email. A sister wanted to get married and her family wouldn't let her get married. What the reality is that, if a girl comes home to you and says, Dad, I want to marry this guy, wallahi, that dad should kiss his daughter on the forehead and look into this and take it seriously and try and get her married off, if of course the guy is good. The reason I say that is because that girl in this day and age didn't have to come to you. Uncle, if you're listening, she didn't have to come to you. In this day and age, majority of the girls are already sleeping with their boyfriends behind closed doors. But she came to you. That's a daughter that should be kissed on the forehead and married off and taken seriously. Of course, if the guy is a proper guy. This sister I told you about, her family didn't let her get married off. The reality is that when a daughter comes, she says, Dad, I'm looking into this guy. If they say no for no good reason and they just shut it off without providing alternatives, they just say no or whatever, or you're too young, or not yet, not enough money, or whatever reason they come and they lock it off for no good reason and they don't provide an alternative. The reality is that she's not going to leave that guy. She did what was good. She came to your face, but now she's going to go behind your back. As terrible and haram it may be, it is sadly the reality of our situation. And this sister I told you about, when her family said no, literally, a few weeks later she got pregnant. And when she became impregnated by the guy, then the family within a week said, marry her off, get her married, marry now. The shame of a pregnant daughter, or a daughter who's lost her virginity due to fornication, is much greater than the shame, of getting her married to a guy who maybe is not so financially well off, or getting her married off before a university degree. These things are not shameful, by the way, but we see them as shameful. I'm saying to our, sadly, cultural standards, what's more shame, pregnant or this? Do you know how many girls are becoming pregnant You know, sadly, so many are getting pregnant, but we don't even know because they're actually having abortions. You know, my Shaykh Ustad Abdul Rahman, Hafidhullah, he used to be Imam in a masjid in West London, and he told me that the NHS came to his masjid and they said, we want to speak to the Imam. So they brought him to him. The people of the masjid brought the NHS guy to our Shaykh. And they said, listen, we want to talk to you about a serious matter that we need you to address on the khutbah every Friday on the pulpit. You need to speak to your community about a matter. He said, what is it? You know, thinking some sort of serious health concern. You know, NHS is here. And they said, basically, look, yeah, we have found that the highest number of abortions that take place through the NHS are happening from Muslim girls. Muslim girls are the highest number of abortions. Now, that sounds bad, right? It gets worse. He said, what we need you to talk to your community about in the mosque, on the Friday prayer, on the pulpit, in the sermon, we need you to tell your girls, your Muslim girls, to start wearing condoms. Because these abortions are too expensive for the NHS. Can you imagine? He was shocked, he told me when he heard that. Thinking that these kuffar are actually coming and saying, tell your daughters to wear condoms. Not tell them stop. Because for them, there's no stop. For them, there's no, don't do zina. For them, no, it's okay, it's healthy. Just wear a condom though. And why is that happening? Because we're not providing alternatives for our daughters. It's haram, it's wrong. They'll be held accountable. There's no excuse. But we also hold a share and a hand in that sin if we stop them from halal and left them with no other alternative but haram. Remember, you being the father, my uncle, and I say this to you as with respect and love, knowing that you're my elder and you could be my father, and you are like a father to me. But I say this to you, that this girl, you are her guardian. Allah placed you a guardian over her. She can't get married without her wali. The only way to halal Allah has made is through you. So please, don't be extreme. One extreme is let her marry whoever. The other extreme is just don't let her marry anyone at all. There has to be that balance. And another thing is that you should know that your daughter is ready from before. A father knows that his daughter is ready before she even tells him. In fact, if your daughter comes to you and says, Dad, I want to get married, that's good. But the father should have known from even before. And many fathers do know, but they don't take it seriously. But we shouldn't be like that. We should be the kind of fathers like Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. He knew his daughter was ready. He didn't waste no time. He got involved. Another example of this is in Surah Al-Qasas, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us the incident of when Musa alayhi salam got married. So this girl, basically, to cut a long story short, this girl, she was with her sister and she saw Musa alayhi salam, and she saw Musa alayhi salam's strength and trustworthiness. So when she went back to her father, قالت إحداهما يا أبت استأجره. When she went back to her father, she told him about this man, Musa, that she saw. And she said, Dad, hire him, employ him, let him work for you. Why? إِنَّ خَيْرَ مَنِ اسْتَأْجِرْتَ الْقَوِيُّ الْأَمِينُ. Because the best guy to hire for the job is someone who's qawi and ameen, who's strong and trustworthy. And I already mentioned this to you as a characteristic in the previous chapter, right? Of someone to look for in a spouse. The point is this, that look how powerful this is. When she said that, her father took it seriously. He brought Musa alayhi salam. Not only did he hire Musa, but he married Musa to his daughter. He said, قَالَ إِنِّي أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُنْكِحَكَ إِحْدَى بَنَتَيَّ هَاتَيْنِ. He said, I intend to marry you. I want to marry you to one of my two daughters. The dad realized, my daughter is ready for marriage. Look, she noticed a man is strong, trustworthy. Even though there was nothing vulgar or or foul, or there was no profanity in what she said. It was all clean, it was all legit, it was all platonic and sincere. Dad, hire him, he's strong, he's trustworthy. But the dad picked up from that, okay, no, she's starting to see men in a different light. I need to get her married. I need to get her married. So that was a bit of a long one, yeah. But yeah, that is, a dad should also look. And also, the brother coming to that category, the girl, if she has a brother, if she has, uncles, they should also be actively looking. But they shouldn't be doing it without the permission and the consultation of the wali. The guardian is the main guy. The brother can't take the place of the dad. The uncle can't take the place of the dad. But they can assist the dad. Brothers know brothers, yeah? Brothers might have, friends that could marry their sisters. They can suggest go to the dad. But they should all be getting involved as a kind of family unit.